So in this video, we are going to discuss the next loop, that is the for statement. So already in the previous video, I explained you how to use the while loop and when the while loop can be used. So what is the basic difference between the for loop and the while loop? As I told you, while loop is considered to be as an infinite loop, whereas the for loop is considered as a finite loop. So why the while loop is considered as an infinite loop? Because in through the while loop we cannot predict or tell how many times the block of statements will be executed. The block of statements will be executed until and unless the condition gets failed in the while loop. But in for loop it is considered as the finite loop in which we can predict for how many iterations the block of statements can be executed. So we'll discuss how we can use the for loop. Before that, we'll see what is the basic syntax that is required for using the for loop. For the for loop, we require the for keyword, a iteration variable, the in keyword, a range method followed by a colon, and the block of statements to be executed for the for loop with a proper indentation. So here is a simple example where we can see that we have used the for loop. So print my name is a simple statement. So the for loop starts from here with the for keyword, and here I is the iteration variable. So once again I'll remind you that you don't require to declare the any iteration variable before using it. So you can directly use it in the loop itself, where the a variable or a letter or a word which is followed with the for keyword is considered as a iteration variable here, and followed to that in is the keyword that is mandatorily required here, and range is also a method which is mandatorily required to tell for how many times this statement needs to be executed. So once again, do remember here the range method, by default it will take the one parameter or the up to 3 integers. So if you are going to specify only one parameter, that is expected is the integer value. So in this case, range of 5 means this is going to be executed one value less than to the value that you have taken here as a parameter. That means for in this example, this for loop is executed from 0 to 4. That is 0 to n minus 1, where n is the parameter that has been considered here. That means I will be by default considered for the first iteration as a 0, next iteration 1, 2, 3, 4, and not up to 5 here, one value less than this 5. And one more thing, do remember here that in the for loop you need not have to increment the iteration variable. By default in Python, whenever you use the for loop, the iteration variable will be incremented automatically for the each iteration. So I'll show you with an example here. So let me use a very simple for loop. Use a for. So as you can see, I'm not declaring the any iteration variable here. So instead of I'll take it as a, but in is a mandatory word here. Range of 5 and followed by the colon. So this is the basic syntax that is required. Press enter. You can see the cursor is pointing to a space by maintaining a tabular space, which is a indentation here. So I'll print that value. Print a. Just press the enter one more time. So you can see here neither I have incremented the iteration variable nor I have told where to end the iteration here. So starting with the 0, it will proceed till 4. That is one value less to the whatever the parameter that you are passing in this range function. So in order to use the for loop in the Python, make sure that the in is a mandatory keyword that is required here, and range, and one iteration variable here. Iteration variable can be any character or a variable name here, and you will not have to increase or decrease the any iteration variable here. So the similar kind of example has been given with a flowchart here, just to tell you how does it executes here. So this statement, that is Jimmy 5 times, will be executed for how many times? Starting with the range 0 to 4. but not the phi. See, do remember here, whatever the value that you take to the range method, one value to this is going to be considered as the last iteration for this for loop. So in this flowchart, you can see the function has been started here, then print, and followed to that the for loop. So to check the condition, and this statement will be repeated, and for how many times it will be repeated? It will be repeated for the 5 times, ranging from the 0 to 5 here. And once the range has been reached, that is to the 5, this loop will be automatically terminated, and where it ends here. I hope the for loop basic syntax is clear to you. Don't worry, you'll get to practice more number of the programs in the further classes. So coming to the another type of a range method where we can pass the two parameters here. So in the first case, you can see here we have taken only one parameter in the range function. So that means by default the iteration is going to begin from the 0 till the last value to this one parameter here. But it also allows, the range method also allows you to use the two parameters here. So in this example, you can see here for is taken iteration variable in keyword range method. The first parameter tells from where the iteration has to begin and up to where the iteration has to be carried out. In this example, the iteration will begin from 12 and it will be carried out or executed till 15. So do remember here, the end parameter is not the value that has been actually taken in the range method. Instead, the one value less to this end parameter here. So you can see the output of this for loop is starting with 12, next iteration 13, next 14, and last 15, but not the 16. So always the one value less to the end parameter here. So in this case, you can also observe one more thing here, that you have not explicitly incremented the any iteration variable. So by default, the iteration variable will be incremented for the each iteration here. So coming to the one more thing is the range method also accepts the three parameters. See, I'm not saying that whether to take the two parameters, three parameters, it is not mandatory in all the cases. The depending upon for which you are writing the loop, so you need to take decision that for how many parameters you need to take. But by default, it is mandatory to at least mention the one parameter to the range method here. So you in this case, here you can see 0, 10, 2 has been taken. So the first parameter, as usual, it is going to tell the beginning parameter. The second parameter, as usual, it is going to tell up to where the iteration needs to be carried out. The last parameter is the step value, that how much increments can be done here. You can see here it has started from 0. So the next value will be considered with a 2-step increase here. 2 plus 2, 4, 6, and that means at the interval of the two values with the each iteration, the increment is done here. So in the same way, the decrement can also be seen here. Starting is with the 5, one value difference, and every time it has to decrement, but for where it has to stop, it has to stop up to -1. That is one value less to the -1, that is the 0 here. So I'll show you with this an example here. So this is the example where we have seen how does it behaves when we take only one parameter in the range method. So let's see how does it is going to behave if we take the two parameters for a in range. I'll take it from 5 to 10. So you can see here it is going to begin with the first parameter, that is 5, and this, if you have taken only the two parameters, the second parameter is going to be considered as the last parameter, that is to tell where you have to stop, the one value to the less than to the last parameter, that is 9. But you can see if you have not taken the third parameter, by default it is going to increment all these values by 1. So that is starting with a 5, next increment by 1, 6, then increment by 1, 7, 8, and 9. So if you take only two parameters, do remember that the first parameter is considered as a starting point and the second parameter is considered to be the one value less than to this ending point. So one more the possibility of using the for loop is where you can specify the at what interval the increment needs to be done here. I'll take the same example 5 by 10 and 2. So what does this is going to indicate here is the first parameter, as usual, it is going to consider it as a starting point. The second parameter is the one value less to this ending point, and the last parameter is to tell at what interval the each iteration needs to be incremented here. I'll just press the enter. So you can see here the first value is 5. So the next value is two values more than this 5, that is 7. The third value is two value more than this 7 is 9, which is the last value. Why? Because the second parameter is 10. The ending point is going to be the one value less than to this second parameter. So this is how the for loop is going to be executed, and this is how the range method can be used with the three different parameters. One parameter, two parameters, and the three parameters. I hope it is clear to you people. So one more thing is with the decrement also. I want to show even that also to you people. For I in range, I want to start with a 10, and then I'll give the ending point as a -1, and I want to decrement it by the -3 point of I. Now you tell me, what do I expect the output for this function is? The starting parameter is 10 and the ending value is one value less than to this, that is -1. That means it has to work till 0, 10 to 0. But the intervals at which it has to decrement is 3 value difference here. So I'll just press the enter key. You can see it has started with a 10 here, and 3 values needs to be decremented 7, and 3 less than 7 is 4, 4 less than 3 is 1, and it is the last value that as compared to the ending point parameter here. I hope the range function and the for loop syntax is clear to you people now. Coming to the last bit of this chapter is importing the modules. So as I told you in the beginning of the classes, Python has a plenty of the modules where you can import them and where you can use the built-in methods from these modules. But here in this chapter, we are just going to deal with how you can import, what is the syntax to be used to import, rather than seeing the different modules or the different built-in methods supported by the each module. So here we can just concentrate on the how we can import the modules here. To import any module, the import keyword is required and the name of the module here. So as in this example, you can see we have imported a module known as a random, and we have used the for loop here, and within this random we are interested to use the rand int as a built-in method here, which is going to randomly consider the one integer value from the range specified here, that is 1 to 10. Okay, so coming to the last bit here, how to appropriately exit from the program in between. So by default, the program is going to be executed till the last statement of the program. But if you wish to exit, or if you want to come out of the program in between itself, then how that can be done, which is done with the function known as a system.exit, for which you need to import a module known as a sys here. So it has been shown here, you can see import system. The name of the module is only sys, though it is abbreviated as a system, but it is in short called as a sys. And by default the loop is considered as a true always. And how to come out of this infinite loop, now we'll see. So we are asking a user to type something, type exit to exit. Then we are reading that input in a variable known as a response, and if the response is exactly what is expected here, exit, then the system has to exit, that is it has to come out of the function. So as I leave this example for you to practice and check out how does it behaves, and let me know in the interaction class that what you came into conclusion, or else what you made a difference by using this exit method with a module here. So before that, I just want to show you one example that how you can use the modules here. So import is the keyword that is required to import any module. So here I'll import the random function. Import random. So you require any colon to be used for importing the any module here. For in range is different and random is different. For within the print directly, I'll consider the name of the module. Suppose if you want to use the any of the built-in method from this package, that is the random module, what is the syntax to be used is, first you need to type the name of the module followed by the name of the function here. So as soon as you name it or use the dot operator, you'll get to know that the how many different built-in methods that are being supported by this module here. So you can see automatically it is giving you the list of all the functions that you can use with this module here. And integer. So it is again giving you hint that it is going to accept the two parameters here. So you can see here, don't be confused with this range and the random int here. So the range is to tell for how many iteration this print statement needs to be executed here, unless the random integers are going to be considered only with the value or the parameters that you specify here for the randint method here. So you can see here in this function, this print statement is going to be executed from the iteration 0 to 9, but this randint the value is going to be considered from the range 1 to 5. So randomly it will generate the any value from the starting parameter to this end parameter for this randint function here. You can see here, randomly it has considered for the first iteration as a 5, second iteration as a 5, 2, 4, 2, 2, 1, 1 and 5. So you can see here, nowhere it has crossed the value or beyond the range from 1 to 5. Randomly it has considered only one value, but within the range that you have specified for this randint function. So this is how usually how you can import the any module, and where you can use the built-in methods that are being supported for the all the modules here. So I leave the execution of this system exit method by importing this SYS module. I want you to practice the same program which is available in the book also, but I want you to experiment this function, and I want the suggestions or else the opinion from your side that how does it is going to be exited, or how what does it is going to make difference if you are going to use the exit method here. Okay, so with this the second chapter of the first module has been completed. So let's discuss all these things in the tomorrow's interaction class. Thank you.